So, 8 months later, it seems I'm still doing movie reviews. And I gotta say, it is a huge sigh of relief to actually review a movie I actually enjoyed. Wow, okay. Alright, so Marvel's Doctor Strange, 14th entry in Marvel's cinematic universe. Alright, we already have 14 of these. And does this hold up with the rest of them, or just is it another Thor: The Dark World? I actually enjoyed Thor: The Dark World, but it was definitely not the best. It was average. So Marvel's Doctor Strange, 14th Marvel Cinematic movie, and it takes us into the realms of interdimensional travel and the mystic arts. So it's pretty risky on Marvel's part to stray away from the typical just Earth realm, because before this movie, interdimensional travel and the mystic arts were just things Thor alluded to us with his movies and with the Loki and their bouts with the Avengers. So yeah, definitely Marvel's taking a huge leap here. This is definitely Marvel's, like me and my friend were discussing, this is definitely like Marvel's taking an exception, and they're trying to mix up the formula. So Marvel being basically at this point like the Pixar of superhero movies, as in they created a formula that audience continually 14 times over just continually enjoy, and because it brings out great humor, great action, great storytelling, and they're actually pretty true to their comic book lore. So it not only does it get great reception from the fans, it also is pretty great on the part of the critics. So Marvel's Doctor Strange, what I like about this movie, first of all, the cast was very well put together. I don't remember following much of Doctor Strange's production, but as soon as I saw Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah, that's right, Smaug, Khan, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing as far as acting in fantasy movies. As soon as I saw Benedict Cumberbatch cast as Doctor Strange, I was like, yes, that is perfect. He is going to kill that. And I'm glad to say that was the case. Benedict Cumberbatch does an amazing job as Doctor Strange. He brings a Tony Stark-like vibe to his arrogance and his wit, his quips, which was very enjoyable to see in the first about 20 minutes of the movie. Basically, think of Tony Stark was a neurosurgeon. If Tony Stark started off as a neurosurgeon before Iron Man instead of an inventor, you basically got Stephen Strange. Also, the rest of the cast was pretty good. Chiwetel Ejiofor, if you remember him as Solomon Northup in 12 Years a Slave, he also stars in this movie as kind of like the Robin to his Batman, just like a sage, except older and more experienced, so maybe that's not the best analogy. But basically, he basically helps train Doctor Strange in his mystic arts abilities, and he definitely, what I'm trying to say is they had great chemistry, and he helped balance out Strange's like whimsical and comical character with his sage-like advice. Also, Rachel McAdams plays the romantic lead. Her character, I tried not to think of her as Pam from The Office, but if you see some shots in this movie, she's Pam from The Office. Anyway, she did a good job of holding her own in this movie. What I'm looking for in a romantic lead in a superhero movie is if she's not objectified, and if she's not just eye candy, and if she actually contributes to the character motivations or the actual plot and action of the movie. And I'd say she does her job. She's Stephen Strange's assistant. She helps him with all his surgeries, and she does a good job of, I don't know, doing just that. That's more than I can say about Lois Lane and that other superhero movie that came out earlier this year. So yeah, I was a huge fan of the acting, and of course you've heard it a billion times by now. This movie, what else I like? This movie is a visual masterpiece. It's gorgeous. All the fight scenes are beautifully orchestrated. They're very well choreographed. They do a good job. Like I thought Man of Steel did, this movie does a great job of blending CGI with hand-to-hand combat and choreographed moves. It's basically like, you remember the all-star brawl of magic and such in the Deathly Hallows Part 2? Basically imagine the Deathly Hallows Part 2 final fight mixed with the Last Airbender, like, that was a crappy movie, but think of Avatar and like judo, taijutsu, like martial arts. Think of martial arts mixed with magic, and you basically have the fight scenes of Doctor Strange. what I liked specifically about the fights, especially the final battle, is that it isn't just an all-star slugfest. There's a mental aspect of it that's great. Also, what I liked about, well, the acting, the visuals, and the music. Michael Giacchino, one of my favorite composers, he does a great job composing this movie. Great, just a good time. What I didn't like about this movie is its plot is very linear and very bare bones. When I say this plot is bare bones, Wikipedia only had 5 paragraphs on this movie's plot, and it's 2 hours long. Yeah, that gives you a little bit of an idea. Also, the MCU's Achilles heel curse has not been broken. It has not been broken. The villains in the MCU movies always drag him down. This villain, although they tried to explore his origin story to make him just more than a villain who just longs for power and destruction, at least they attempted, but for me it was unconvincing, and this villain was very forgettable. So the plot was bare bones. Not much happened. In fact, I predicted the whole movie's plot just by seeing the teaser trailer. And the villain was very, very forgettable. But by the end of it, just the villain and the plot, given its formulaic nature, I'd say I was kind of underwhelmed. I was surprised. Although I liked the acting and the visuals, by the end of it, I was just a little underwhelmed. So, but it wasn't a bad thing. I enjoyed the performances and I enjoyed this movie. I give Doctor Strange 3.5 stars. Definitely check it out as soon as you can. You'll have a good time. And yeah, it's great. Go see it. Okay, guys, I'll catch you later. For a full written review, check out the link in the description. And I'm out for now.